another wonderful Monday evening on Healthy Living. My name is Nana Akosia Boache. Life is about God, you and your neighbor, but lifestyle is about physical, spiritual, mental, and social. We're going for a commercial break, and when we're back, there is more to what you don't know about lifestyle. Stay tuned.
It was the time of Passover, and we were in an upper room in Jerusalem. We were all praying in one accord. We were praying for repentance and humility, and we were confessing our sins. We were also seeking the Lord's vision, power, and the Holy Spirit. There was an incredible feeling of oneness as we prayed earnestly together.
Suddenly, there was the sound of a violent wind that filled the whole room where we were sitting. Then tongues of fire came down, and this fire rested on the people.
All the people in the room were filled with the Holy Spirit. Now, remember that at the time of the Passover, people came from many countries to worship, and now suddenly they could hear the gospel each in their own language. As a result of this, 3,000 people were added to the believers in one day.
The people devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Every day they would meet together in the temple courts. In their homes they broke bread and ate together. And the number of those being saved grew daily.
Welcome back from the break. If you just joined me, it's Healthy Living, and today we are going to discuss an interesting topic, a topic that is going to help you modify your healthy lifestyle. And to help me with, I have with me here Dr. David Addo, who is a naturopath and a lifestyle consultant. Doc,
hi.
You're welcome to Healthy Living.
Thank you.
My weekend was good. I don't know for yours.
Mine was equally good, and because I'm always busy trying to find some new things doing.
All right, thank you. So today we are going to discuss a whole lot of things, but the basic is what you see here. Yeah, today we're going to do juicing and smoothies. You've been wondering what you should combine, either being fruits or vegetables. The doctor is here to break it down for us. Doc, before I went on the break, I made mention that life is about God, you and your neighbor. But then lifestyle has 4 categories, and that is spiritual, physical, mental, and social. Let's start with physical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you that you mentioned that. When it comes to our lives, we are 3-dimensional. As you said, physical, myself, my neighbor, and God.
Yes.
But when it comes to lifestyle, we are 4-dimensional beings. And it's important we appreciate that, in that the physical, the mental, the social, and the spiritual. On the physical aspect, for most people it's about, oh, probably I go to the gym and I eat a few leaves and, you know, I'm balancing my diet so I'm okay. But when it comes to physical, it's more than how you look, but it's more about how the mind and the body works. Because before you start any exercise program, you've got to make sure that you know your health status.
Yes.
There are a lot of us, and these days, because of the things people eat, you don't know whether your cardio system is working well. And I have known persons who've dropped dead because they felt to be physically fit, you've got to exercise.
Even our late vice president, yes.
I think I heard about that.
Yes.
But you see, when you don't know the underlying causes of, or the underlying challenges you have, you may have a challenge.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to physical, it is more than just exercise. I have what I call the news approach to healthy lifestyle. And the acronym NEW stands for nutrition, exercise, water, and stress management. Now, anytime you fall sick, it means your system has gone through stress and your body has not been able to deal with it. That is sickness. Sometimes too, people are exhausted beyond measure, so you become fatigued. Again, your body has gone through a point where it can no longer cope. So it gives you a signal that I am too tired. Not only that, there are those of us who work and get up very early, which is good, but we also go to bed late. And you see, on the physical, this physical body is designed to work on a rhythm. If you distort or confuse the rhythm, you create stress. So for example, for those who are very sophisticated and stay long at work, they get home late, and that's when they begin to eat the foods like probably banku with okra stew with some wele, they call it, and the meat and the chicken. Now, we have what we call transition period. So if you eat fruits like this, like you've done them into smoothies, they may take about 2 hours to break down. But imagine you come home about 9 o'clock and you're tucking into your chicken and or jollof rice and all that. The chicken will take, because the chicken will take about 9 hours to digest.
Wow.
The rice will also take a period of time. And oftentimes the challenge is that most people don't chew their food properly. So our system, whilst talking about physical, I like to introduce these two equipments here. Our bodies are, one, the grinding and the extraction. If the grinding is not done well, then the extraction will be delayed. So by not chewing your food, you create more stress for your body.
But some people feel like that's how they are. They prefer to chew faster.
I don't have a problem if you chew faster, on condition that you break your food down in the mouth almost to pulp. But those who speed through their food most times swallow. If you go to a place where people are eating, it will be nice. You sit back and watch people eat, and you find most people, they gobble the food.
Especially rice.
You know, so when it comes to the physical, there are several factors. But for me, stress is the baseline, and stress has been killing a lot of people. So as I was saying, you eat your food, you go to bed, let's say 10 o'clock, and you go to sleep. The brain is telling the body it's time to rest. But because you've introduced material into your stomach, there is a battle. And that's when we begin to dream of lions chasing us through high rise buildings and sometimes running across rail lines when we don't even have a working rail, you know, because there is trauma. Your body is going through trauma. So your sleep is disturbed. You have problem internally. And then there is the beginnings of rottenness in your body. So physically, you've introduced a new material into your body. Whilst you may have eaten something you thought was good, you've created problems. Now, the rottenness is filtered into your bloodstream. Your body has to go through a process of detoxification, but you don't give it the opportunity because the next morning you overload the system. And there are, as a result of that, your body is constantly exhausted.
All right, so let's move to spiritual aspect.
Okay. Now, spirituality is a great thing. It's good you have faith because faith gives you assurance. Faith helps you go through difficulties and challenges. And one with faith has confidence in spite of danger or apparent disappointments and conflicts and difficulties. As a result of that, you have an inner peace. Now, research shows that people who are happy create something. There is a chemical in the system that when you're happy, you activate them and they keep your immune system intact, ready to do battle. But those who are gloomy and sad and always troubled don't produce those chemicals. And so faith is important. Faith also helps you maintain integrity. And one who is integrity has no worry because it's not like I'm doing something and watching my back. You always do things in the right way to the best of your ability. It's not that you will not make mistakes, but when you make mistakes, you accept. So faith, spiritual element is good. Spirituality also helps you engage with your fellow man because, you know, you said life is about me, you and God. And so spirituality gives you a perspective that adds to your health because it helps your mind to be restful. When the mind is troubled, you can be under the watch of the best of doctors, you will still not be well, because sometimes people go to hospitals sick like a whatever, and they do all the tests,
and
but they can't find
anything wrong with the person.
And it's not that the specialists requesting those tests don't know what they're doing, but because the problem is from the mind. And so they check, you find some people have pains all over, and it doesn't matter what is done for them, they still have the pain. It's because they are locked up in the mind. And that's why the spiritual element, the spiritual dimension helps you to let go, so that the mind can cooperate, or the mind can control the body properly. And with that, you find that you recover from illness. It's important.
All right, so meaning spiritual even coincide with mental.
Yes.
So mental, what is with mental?
Okay. The mental aspect is about, okay, spiritual, you say God is out there.
Yes.
But when it comes to mental, it's about how you control the mind. And in that healthy mental state, you've got to engage with others. Now, there are people who always think that the world is against them. And therefore, for everything, there is a battle.
Yes.
But when you have good physical health, good spiritual health, it helps you develop positive outlook to life. And so with that, even with difficulties, you find the mind is restful. There are people who go to bed, and you didn't believe it, they don't sleep because the mind is troubled. And if the mind is troubled, everything to you will be negative, because sometimes we perceive things, but they are not real. So mentally, it's important, because if you want to be positive in terms of how you look at life, you could be the best mathematician, but if mentally you're a bit challenged because you always think that things are against you and the little mistake you do, it's bad, you find you'll not be able to produce well. Let's bring it down to children. A child is in a home, and everything he or she does, you're stupid, you're foolish, you're no good. The child after a while comes to accept that, hey,
I can't do anything right.
So the child goes to school, 1 + 1, and he says, 1.5. The teacher says terrible things to her. Oh, that's what they say.
Yes,
that's
all
it.
the
And
time.
so mentally you get locked, and you'll be amazed it applies to adults. There are adults who have a problem with self. But when mentally you're sound, self is also elevated, not arrogantly. So it's important. When you are balanced physically, spiritually, mentally, then you can engage socially. Because social dimension is critical. It's about being grateful. Because you see, people do things for you. You can be grateful. You also go out of your way to be of service to others. So when it comes to health or healthy lifestyle, it's important for us to realize that if physically you are weak, it will affect
your spiritual life.
It will affect your
mental.
I've never seen a sick person saying, hey, what can I do for the other person? Sick people, even in their prayers, say, God, why me? You know, why am I here? When are you going to get me out of here? It's only one who is healthy, physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually, who begin to think of others. So when it comes to health, it's important. Let me take you to a different level. Now, when the mind is troubled, the whole body is sick, physically, spiritually, mentally, because your mind is clouded. Your senses and judgments become warped, and it affects even how you relate to people. And so it's important. Taking it further, a lot of us think that when it comes to the physical and what we eat, we exercise, we drink water, it's fine. If you eat the wrong stuff and you create stress in your body, the mind, that is not the mind you have, but the brain.
The brain.
Because it's connected. The brain decides, I am in control. So if certain nutrients are not coming into the system, but I need to survive to give the command to the other subordinates, the mind decides sometimes to sacrifice an organ. So for example, a person who doesn't drink adequately, the mind needs water, because the mind is about 80–82% water. So as he begins to say, look, give me water so I can work, probably you don't have sufficient and adequate water going to other places.
System, yes.
You know, so your blood may become very thick, and depending upon what food you've eaten, if it's fatty, it will become, your blood will become gooey, you know, and so you have a challenge, and that is when people begin to develop little headaches, colds, and all that. And also, the immune system is not able to function efficiently and effectively. Yes. By efficient, I mean the ability for the brain to tell the soldiers, hey, there is battleground here. You need to move there. The brain is tired. The soldiers are also weak. So who gives the command? The brain is struggling to survive. And so that's when you have these radicals, the rascals, I call them. You know, the disease-forming microbes and pathogens begins to make their way, and before you realize they've ravaged the system. But when you drink well and you hydrate your system, your joints, your muscles, your tissues, you find anybody sees you, you look very bouncy. You know, there is a bounce around you. You don't have cracks on your face, dry lips, you know, and sometimes clogged nostrils. The body speaks to us. And if your body is speaking to you and you're not listening, it gives you little signs of discomfort. But oftentimes people wake up and they say, oh, probably my pillow. The way I sat,
mattress.
Yeah, the way I sat in the offices. But your body is telling you, hey, I'm not comfortable, I'm not happy.
All right, Doc. So Doc is saying you shouldn't always think it's about your mattress or your pillow. Yes, you might go to the hospital and the doctor will ask you, why are you feeling those pains? Okay, probably your mattress is not in a good position. You need an orthopedic mattress or pillow, or your seat at the office is not right. But doctors say sometimes it's not about your mattress or your pillow. It's about you, what you're taking into your system. So, Doc, someone would say, actually, I don't take much water, but I take in drinks, soft drinks, which is also liquid.
Very interesting. And that's why people are dying. Let me explain. When you take your soft drink, I don't think many people know how many teaspoons of sugar are in one bottle of soft drink, with your Sprite, your Fanta, and all that. In the States, in the UK, they give you these figures, and sometimes one Fanta drink, 1 cedi, they sell them.
Yeah, depending. Some are 2 cedis, some 1 cedi, some
just
5
the 500 ml or
Okay.
350 ml. You're taking 14 teaspoons of sugar. Sugar is acidic. Sugar depresses your immune system. Sugar does a lot of havoc in your system. Therefore, if you're taking colored water, a little sweetener with sugar, what you're in fact doing is that you're creating a system that, in fact, overstresses, and the carbonated water in the sugar keeps your palate wanting more. You know, people who, when you drink Sprite or whatever, you feel, once you finish it,
That's nice.
this is nice, I think I can have another one.
Yes.
When your body becomes over-acidified, it's one of the major causes of high stress to the body. Because when your body is designed to work on an alkaline medium.
Yes.
So when your body becomes acidic, the body has to do whatever it can to neutralize the acid. And the only chemical in the body to neutralize the acid is calcium. Where is calcium in your body? In your bones and in your teeth.
Yes.
And so you begin to give your body permission by your own act to excrete calcium to neutralize the acidity you've created. What are you doing to yourself? You're affecting your bones, your joints. Your cells also struggle because they can't work well, because they are not designed to work in an acid medium. You know, so by so doing, you create havoc. Now, a lot of diseases, for example, cancer and others, thrive in acidic medium. And so we all have cancer cells. It's just a little trigger that...
I wish you repeat that again.
What I'm saying is too much acid creates a medium for disease. And it is known that cancer cells thrive in acid medium. So when your system is acid, and for example, the cancer cell is triggered and they begin to mimic and go through.
So meaning we have kind of cancer cells in
Everybody
our
has,
system.
you don't have to be frightened about it. The immune system is capable of dealing with that. There are so many pathogens. Just by walking from your house to the the street. There are things in the atmosphere, but because we have high military defense inside, not the ones at the barracks.
Yes.
We have soldiers in our bodies which are able to deal with whatever attacks that come. It's when our systems break down through poor lifestyle habits.
Yeah.
Then you overwork your internal defenses. Then when the intruders come, they are too weak, and so they invade and they take over your system. So over-acidification is dangerous. One, it does not only affect your bones and all that, your cells also struggle. When that happens, you may be walking perfectly fine, thinking, oh, I'm fine, everything is okay, until one day it hits you hard. And you know, most people go to the hospital and say, you know, doctor, in my family we don't get sick. I don't recall the last time my mom or dad
went to the hospital
or reported any headache. But when it happens to you, you go and report that. So sometimes we create more problems for ourselves because we don't take time to understand the things we do and how that impacts on us. And so when you go to a doctor and say, oh, I used to be well and whatever, he might give you a color-coded something you begin to take and all that, but it doesn't work. So it's important that we know what we are doing. Let's come to, today we're giving snippets.
Yes.
Let's come to food. When it comes to food, now, because people don't chew their food well, the food goes into the stomach, and most of the food we swallow are the starchy foods.
Yes.
And so it should be, the digestion should start in your mouth. There is an enzyme in the mouth that when you break it down, it mixes, and then when you, it's in the saliva, you know, and all that. And it helps the breakdown. Starch is not digested in the stomach. The stomach is an acid medium, so it's protein-based. But you see, the pancreas does the mop-up. But if you swallow everything, and then the sugar, because starch is sugar, when you break it down partially, and then most of the foods that are eaten have high fat, high protein. And people feel that, you know, unless you can show that you can afford it, so you buy the food, there must be a bit of wele, chicken, and all the rest.
Everything.
Now, the tissues of even the wele and the others are different, tissue strength. And most people take the meat, they chew one, two, they swallow. These things stay, and because they are bulky in the stomach tells the brain, hey, I've got good raw materials. I need to work with them. In other words, it needs to break down. But you see, what people fail to understand is that when you swallow your food, your teeth don't come out of your jaw and then go in and go zzz, and then come back. They're still where they are. So it leads to, first you get fermentation because the sugar begins to play. But woe unto you when you eat these foods, and then most people drink ice water. Are you getting the stress pattern I'm building?
Yes.
Because when you take the ice water, the body has a temperature of about 35 to 37. When it goes to 38, your body begins to you become feverish. But let's say 35 to 37. Now, if you drink ice water, which is about 5 degrees, you close business. The body now stops. It has to warm the ice water before it goes back to start breaking down the food. By that time, because there are bacteria and other things, you have
You've already find a way into your system.
So you're beginning to break things up. Now, would you like to work and not be paid?
No,
right.
Not at all.
So you eat your food. Your body is supposed to break it down, but you drink ice water. And so the body has to spend another time. The body is doing overtime for the work it should have done during working hours.
Yes, a couple of hours.
So what are you doing? You are stretching yourself. So your body goes through trauma. And I believe if we were to set up a law court where we bring people who abuse their body, I believe probably 99.9% of this nation, everybody will be in jail. Because people are abusing themselves.
Yeah, themselves, indirectly.
That's it. But no, with consent, because you introduce the food, you drink and sometimes we eat and drink Fanta and Coke on top of it.
We're living large.
Okay. You know, so it's very important to know that the way you combine your food, you know, now when you eat all protein foods. I recall one time I was doing a program in Kumasi, and this woman said she doesn't eat anything. She had a big bowl of palm soup, you call her benkwai.
Yeah.
And it's all, she has, you name it, different types of meat
More or less like a soup, a sea soup.
Well, you could say that. And it had everything.
Yes,
so
everything in it.
I said, Madam, why are you eating this? Oh, I don't eat vegetables, I don't eat this. So we're doing health screening and all that and counseling. So I said, would you mind checking? She was very slim.
Slim.
You know, when the body becomes acidic, what people don't know is that acid also irritates the fine surface lining of your blood vessels. So this is the lumen. But as it irritates, you know, many years ago I tell people, I don't worry about cholesterol because your body needs cholesterol. Your liver produces cholesterol. So it's good for the system. But when cholesterol becomes a problem is when there is injury. So when you have irritation on the fine surface lining of the blood vessels, right, then the body says, hey, save it from breaking, because if a blood vessel bursts, you have internal bleeding.
Yeah.
So the body then takes the waxy thing and then places it here, thereby narrowing the blood vessels. And so cholesterol is not for me. I don't have worries when people's cholesterol is high. If you do the right things, it will not trouble you. But when you combine these foods and you create over-acidification of the blood, you create other problems. And if you look at your, I don't have any hair on my head, but if you take a strand of hair, some of the blood vessels in your head are that tiny. So imagine they start blocking up. And when the blood becomes too fatty too, what happens is that you can't carry enough oxygen. So you deprive certain vital vessels of oxygen. If it's in the brain, it begins to die, and before you realize, certain parts of your body cease to function. So
right,
lifestyle,
Doc,
go ahead.
you continue. Doc is giving us much idea as to what we should take into our bodies so we don't harm ourselves. But let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back.
In the country of Ghana, nearly 30% of kids under the age of 5 are stunted due to malnutrition. ADRA has partnered with Valley View University and the World Soy Foundation to improve the nutrition of children in a unique way. This small soy processing facility at Valley View grinds, pasteurizes, and presses soybeans into nutritious soy milk. Soybeans are soaked and then ground through energy-efficient pedal power. The resulting paste is cooked in an innovative steam boiler and then pressed. ADRA knows that protein-rich soy milk is an effective nutritional supplement for growing children. In partnership with Valley View University, ADRA is distributing the soy milk produced here to more than 430 children at schools throughout the city of Techiman. Soy milk is distributed 4 days a week to kindergarten classes like this one. The children's growth is monitored carefully, and staff have measured an additional weight gain of up to 10% over a 3-month period. Thanks to this innovative soy technology, kids in Techiman are healthier, happier, and growing toward a brighter future.
From the break, we are really discussing an exciting topic. Doctor was already talking of how what we eat can create acidic content into our system, and that can destroy healthy cells. Doc, please continue with it.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying is eating the wrong foods, giving the wrong mixtures, especially when we take high sugars and high protein foods, leads to acidity. Acidity affects the cells, it affects the body, it gives room for pathogens to go on exploration and kind of invade the system. It also affects our joints. that's why, if I may add, sometimes as we age, you find people kind of bend.
Is it that they are not tall? You know, they always say that it's tall people that as time goes on, they end up.
Well, gravity is pulling them down. But if you don't eat right, it doesn't matter whether you're tall or short. You find people crying of pains and aches in the joints. So acidity is not good. It's good to have your blood more alkaline, and that way you live healthy. And when you have longevity, it's going to be a long, healthy life of ease and happiness. All right.
So, Doc, we are going into our juicing. I know you've been waiting. Yes, it's a teaser. But you have to learn something before we get into this juicing and smoothies. Doc, what are we starting with?
I think probably let's wash our hands and
first.
Then we can begin to.
Sure.
We've already washed our hands, but it's good to.
Yes, it's good to re-wash it again.
Let it go up a bit. Don't worry about the watch. Go up. Okay. Thank you. Let me pour it for you.
So we're using clean water to wash our hands. Not just any water, there's healthy one, there's Valley Life mineral water. Thank you, Doc. Okay. All right.
Okay, we have here fruits and a few vegetables. The important thing about fruits and vegetables is that, one, their transition period is very short. Rightly prepared and ingested, it doesn't give the body any stress. Vital to fruits and vegetables is fiber, vitamins, and minerals. And the various protective enzymes that they have. For example, if you take meat, meat has no enzyme to digest it. So you need a lot more acid. And it also has very little fiber. And with very little fiber, you have problems with your waste system, you know, your colon, because basically they become hardened and people have all kind of conditions. So diverticulosis, hemorrhoid, what you call piles, and constipation, you know, and it's very difficult. Some people get stuck when they go to the throne room. But when you have fiber, your system goes. We have a few fruits here. We have apples here.
Yes.
And I advise people, when you eat your apple, you can chew the pips. That is the seed inside. Now, the seed in it has a very interesting vitamin. Vitamin B17, amygdalin or laetrile, which is also very good in helping our immune system.
So as to you chewing or taking in fruits raw like this and not juicing them, which one actually works faster to help your system? You
see, when you chew, you do a lot of things. You're exercising the muscles of your face, your jaw, and all that. So if you can chew, fine. But in this busy world, I would recommend, if you want something that will go through your system really well. But when you blend or juice your fruits, don't just swallow it. It's starch, high starch. They have a bit of protein. So when you put a mouthful, hold it in your mouth like you're trying to mix it with the saliva and swallow. So you would have started the digestive process.
All right, so Doc, so what are we...
What I'm going to do here is, this is a blender, so it represents your teeth. And this is a juicer. This extracts. Now, the best combination is, for example, if I take cabbage. Cabbage, for many people, I don't like it, it tastes funny, but cabbage has a lot of vitamins, and also, surprisingly, cabbage has folates and other chemicals that pregnant women, when you don't have your folate and all that, you could have a child with what we call spina bifida, where the lower joint can't walk. So cabbage has that. And so cabbage is good. So let me just take a little bit of the cabbage.
Okay, so we are starting with a vegetable. Doctor
I can combine.
You can combine.
Now, when you juice, Not everybody subscribes to that, so there are many in the field.
Yeah, because some doctors say that you can't combine vegetables and fruits.
I won't argue with them, depending upon, probably they don't tell you in juicing, but when you eating it, this will break down faster than that. But when I juice it, this is a blender, and this can break everything like you're chewing it. So let's say if I put a little cabbage.
Mind you, the vegetables and fruits are already washed. You have to wash your fruits
if
and vegetables as well. Okay.
This machine is strong enough, you don't.
Yeah.
So I put a little, if you may open the, okay.
Let me help you with
So I put a little cabbage here. That's fine. Okay, and to act as a sweetener, I may put a little beetroot. You know, beetroot has a little iron and other vitamins, beta-carotene for your eyes. And you see, fruits have the vitamins in what we call bioavailable. In other words, when it gets into the body can easily take it and work with it.
Okay.
You know, so I just put the beetroot in. Can I have a bottle of water and some ice, please? Yeah, can I have?
And then
Now, if I blend this will take a few. This is a Vitamix. No, pour it. Yeah. Now, this is cabbage and beetroot. This will help you detoxify. So, for example, you begin to feel restless and you want to kind of overhaul the system in a very gentle way. Cabbage, beetroot is fine. You could equally, let me pour a little bit there because I'm going to do several combinations.
okay.
So this is well chewed. So you see how it's coming out.
It looks so nice.
Right. So this machine is able to chew it like you're using your teeth. If you don't have a very good and strong blender, then when you do it, you can put it through porcelain and get the chaff out, because if you swallow it, it creates the same problem.
Before you move on, I just can't help it. But I
Go ahead.
I can try.
Go ahead.
Okay. God has already blessed this. It's nice.
Yeah, but let me make it nicer for you. Now, if you have kids in the house, people with kids, because it's cabbage and beetroot, if the beetroot is not sweet, the child will say, So what you do is I take a couple of, and you say this machine can take a whole fruit.
Please, if you don't have a strong machine. Okay.
No, there's nothing. That's it. Thank you. So this is fine. The body won't need to go through a lot of
Let me try this one.
strain to.
Okay. I think this okay. I think I prefer this.
Okay. So when you have children in the house, when you prepare food, it must taste nice.
Nice, yes.
You know, it's important. I wish we could have, if you could just pour this out somewhere
Okay.
for us and then come back, bring the, okay.
All right.
Whilst you are working on that, I'm going to use the other juicer. And this, I take the carrots,
Do I need to rinse it?
no, okay, you can rinse it.
Okay. Okay, so supposing a dog, someone doesn't have a juicer to actually extract this, can he or she use the blender?
Yes, you can use. That's why I did that. But with the blender, that's why I wanted to blender. You've got to add water.
Okay.
But this, I'm extracting the total nutrient from the carrots. You know, so I'll just put about 3 carrots. Let me take the top cover off. 3 carrots. I wish we had more glasses. Okay. Now, it's okay. Let me give you just a little bit of this. This is concentrated. So try a little bit of, just a little bit of it.
Okay. I don't know. Let's try this. This tastes nice.
Yes, because this machine chews all the fiber and extracts the ingredients without destroying them.
It's as if there's a sweetener in it.
No, it's the original taste, but it's able to extract it. Whereas if you put the carrot in the blender, and I'm going to do that, if you could just come here. I'll put a couple of carrots. Let me put a couple of carrots in the... If I put a couple of carrots, we may have a little... you know, I need to... But here, you've got to have fresh water.
Yes.
Okay, a little water to it. I just want to see the difference. This also produces total nutrition, but the taste will be different. So here, now carrot is good for the
I still want to try this.
liver and the kidney.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. So nice.
So here you have more bulk. So if I take this out, now carrot is good for detoxifying, but you see this is more like a pulp.
Okay.
Okay, it's very smooth, but you taste it.
So I should call this like smoothie.
A smoothie, but it's raw carrot. If you want to do smoothie, I'm going to go to that, but you try this.
Today I'm trying things. I have lots of recipe now.
What's it?
I can taste the
Texture.
The texture,
But is
everything.
it as sweet as?
No.
Okay.
Yes. But this is much tastier. Like
Okay.
there's a sweetener
So
in it.
I want to do smoothie. So basically, I'm going to do something that will make the body restful and yet supply total nutrition. So
Probably
we have,
when you're back from work and
yes,
stress. Yeah.
and it's not advisable to be eating late at night. So when you come home at night, you could easily blend your carrots, cucumber, and probably a little pineapple. It will give you the energy that is missing in your system, and it will help you regain your strength. So we have this. Can I have the pineapple, please?
All right. Doc, so someone would say that why should I go through the stress of preparing smoothies or juice? Why don't I just go to the mall, pick up, you know, some people write on their food that this is freshly made and it's healthy and nice.
Anything that is freshly made that you weren't there that when it was made, you can't judge its freshness. Are you getting me?
Yes.
You are seeing me cut these vegetables. So irrespective of the mild oxidation that it may have gone through because it's been harvested, I'm cutting this pineapple fresh.
Okay.
So I drop the pineapple in here. Okay. Now I'm going to add more water.
All right.
So we have the carrot. Okay. And then I'm going to take, so I'll put the bit here. I'm going to take cucumber. Cucumber is mainly water.
Yes.
Now, the green around the cucumber gives you a bit of chlorophyll, you know, and other vitamins. So, and I'm grinding it with the seeds because when you have your seeds, you get some of your omega, whatever. So, sorry, I touched the.
Sorry about that. So you really don't have to take off the green.
No. The reason why people take off the green, and viewers, sorry, my hand touched the wrong button. The reason why people take off the cover is because you don't know where it's coming from.
Okay.
That's why it's good if you have a piece of land by you. Don't worry. Piece of land by you. You could do your own. You could do your own little backyard garden, and so in a minute we will have this. Okay, now I want you to taste this.
Okay.
And you'll find you can have this and go to bed and you'll just be fine. I'm going to ask you to drink all of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
I'm blessed. You know, so Doc says this combination is very good, especially Mondays. You know, Mondays are very hectic.
I'm
days.
adding ice to give it a bit of a chill.
Okay. Can I have some of this? All right. Thank you. So you can take this combination and to help you relax. You know, you're going to be relaxed, help your brain to also help you sleep well. You will see certain things.
Now, the reason we are tired is because energy is down. And if energy is down, your primary source of energy is sugar. So whatever you eat...
Doc, it's like you've added milk to it.
No,
it takes milk.
it's a technique. It's a technique you do.
Okay, so
how do you combine cucumber, pineapple, and because normally when you have banana in there, that's when it becomes like milky because of the texture of the banana.
Okay.
But there are techniques in doing these things, and you could create so many flavors.
All right.
Yeah. So when you take this, you are helping your body to really work without expending any energy. And I said energy, sugar is the baseline. And if sugar is the baseline for energy, when you do this, this is natural sugar.
Okay.
So once you put in the body absorbs it immediately because it's what we call bioavailable. In other words, it's readily available for the body to take in. So it takes all the exhaustion, but it does more than that. Because it is readily available, it goes to bathe the cells, you know, and clean them, supply them with nutrients, and the waste material from your tiredness and all that is cleaned out. So you get refreshed. And when you go to bed on this, you can take this and within an hour or so you go to bed. You'll never have those strange dreams and, you know.
So it's not basically about your people following you.
No. It's what we put in late at night.
Okay.
And so I recommend that even you could do this once a week. You could just have smoothies or juices all day. Morning, every 3 hours you drink a little. So you can get it in a flask, close it, and you drink it. It's about going on annual leave. So, but this is going on weekly leave for the body. So you don't compound the system by just choking it with all this omoto with the cow foot or cow leg and whatever.
Yes.
You know, so it's important. We could have done a lot of
I think
stuff.
we should try the banana smoothies.
The banana smoothie. Then it means you've got to empty this in the
Yes,
container.
let's pour it into this jar.
And give me a little.
We'll be
Now,
enjoying it
I'm not going to
later.
pour all because I want to show you something.
Okay.
Now, if your blender is not good, I don't encourage subscribing to varied fruits and vegetables.
Please note
So
if your
it's
blender is not good.
No, because this puts it together. I normally
Okay.
like to make it simple. Give me 3 bananas, please.
All right. Doc, I learned banana contains like about 150 calories.
Oh.
So
someone
would say, I don't want to take banana smoothies. Because if I do, I might end up gaining weight that I don't want to gain.
When you talk about calories, I would want to believe that when you take meat, they have higher calories than bananas. Now, these ones break down very easily. If you are sedentary, you can eat banana 3 a day, but you should not be feasting on the banana. People talk about calories. To be honest with you, I don't worry too much about calories if you're doing the right things, because your body can expend the energy you give to it. Those who stuff their system too much, that's when you put on weight. Now, you can even take this glass and say you don't want calories. But if you go to your office and sit there and not do anything, you are overly sedentary, your body gets exhausted. The thing about putting on weight, a lot of people don't know, is that when the body is tired, it goes into a mode of rest. So when you eat and you supply the energy, the body don't know what to do with it, so it stores it. It's not because you've taken calories. So I tell people, you have to understand the principles of health, so you do the things right. If you go to bed late, ladies, you like to keep the kitchen and everything clean. So you go to bed late, you will put on the weight because your body is exhausted. You've changed the circadian rhythm of the body. You've not been able to, you've reading the melatonin production, which is 9:30 to 10. We'll talk about that some other time. And so your body goes through sleep, but not rest. And so you wake up exhausted. Whatever you take, the body says, I don't know what to do with it. I don't need energy at this time, so store it. So it's important you know what you're doing.
So the more you keep storing up these things. And
so I know calorie is,
it's not
it's important.
About banana and milk. You know, some add milk to it.
Yes, but probably some other time we'll talk about milk. But I want to say that I don't encourage us too much milk as black people from the little research I have read. And we have various signs saying that as a people, black people, for example, just a minute. So we're ready with the banana, pineapple, and we have the base of carrot. So just a little.
You were like black people and milk.
Some other time we'll have to go into that because there are ample research, and normally when I state these things, I like to give people the facts. It's important, but it does affect us. We are not able to process, for the majority of people, there's a protein in milk called casein, which we struggle to process, but I think it's better we come a different time where we talk about these things.
Doc, I'm really listening to you. I'm really enjoying this.
Go ahead.
Because it has no milk, but it's so milky and it's so nice. Is it because of the cabbage and other things that was made?
There's a base cabbage and carrot in there. I mean, you could disguise the cabbage. If you like, I'm going to add another cabbage, a piece of cabbage to it. Right? I'll just... I wish we had...
Okay. So our milk issue, please.
So it's important. I ask people, the cow, when it weans its calf, they eat their grass and whatever. I'm talking about those we don't pump prime them to get big. When they grow, but they still build the muscle. But it's only humans who try to feel that we need to drink milk to grow. I know there is evidence to say that you will get calcium and all that. But where does the cow, the goat, get their calcium to grow when they're chewing grass? You can equally do that going for your nuts, grains, and seeds. But there are individuals who may have a need. Clinically, they may need them. But I've been to Zambia, I've been to different places, and they feed their kids on these grains and their porridges, and the children grow so healthy, really round. Nice. You see their complexion, it's so pretty and beautiful. So there are different views, but I hold the view that I have two beautiful daughters. They've never drank milk in their lives.
Aside the breast milk.
Aside the breast milk. And they've grown super intelligent. I humbly say that. But they never had any problems or anything. And it's important. But if you don't take those things, you know, sometimes we are told this is good for you, but if you don't take those things, when it comes to lifestyle health, I will advise. Always make sure you get appropriate advice. Don't just say, well, I'm saying that milk is not good, so you just start mixing things and giving to your children. It's important you seek appropriate medical advice for your children, because different kids may have different needs. But you can And I've known many people who've had kids and they've not put them on milk, and the children are doing very well. Women who go through pregnancy and don't eat certain things, and they keep, you know, there is ample research findings to show that rightly guided, one could grow healthy and everything without depending on animal produce.
Doc, I'm still staring at my melon. And so melons, what can we combine with melons?
Now, watermelon is, if you're eating watermelon, when it comes to blending, as I said, when it comes to blending, because it's all chewed, there is no problem.
Okay.
But watermelon, as its name indicates, water. So it breaks down like with the speed of light. So if you combine watermelon even with pineapple, sometimes you have problems in terms of when you are eating it, not
so
blending.
it's not advisable.
I always recommend
okay.
watermelon stands on its own. You could add things like ginger. Sometimes I add cayenne pepper, a dash of cayenne pepper to some of these juices, because there are people who have spicy palates. So if you add a little spice to this, it raises the, not the flavor, but the aroma and everything a little notch higher. And also when you have cayenne or ginger, their active ingredients are stimulating, you know, so it kicks the whole system, you know, so depending upon what you're doing. But I think as we draw to a close, when it comes to lifestyle, I say to people the baseline is adequate nutrition. Water, you must make sure you don't drink your water with your food, because you must be able to generate enough saliva to help you break down the food. And as you chew your food, you find the body automatically will generate the saliva to go through it. You must also not eat at short intervals unless you have a medical condition. So somebody who is hyperthyroid has a higher metabolic activity. Somebody who is diabetic may have to eat small quantities but constantly to maintain a regular sugar level. You know,
so what of someone who is not diabetic or having a medical issue has to be eating in intervals, but he's that type, he or she's that type who gets hungry?
Sometimes it's mind over matter. Other times it's dehydration. Sometimes what we call hunger may be thirst. We are not drinking water properly, so the whole system is traumatized and stressed. So your body has to go internally to break down the stored energy. And because it's a lot of energy, you begin to feel, I'm losing energy, I'm tired, I need to eat. But it's just thirst. So if we are drinking rightly, we'll find some of this craving for food or the feeling of low energy and I've got to eat something, maybe a question of lack of water. And if you do it over a period of time, even when you start drinking properly and adequately, because you've psych the system to do that, you find you are trapped, and you've got to be conscious and probably regulate yourself to come to that level. So it's important.
All right, Doc, so before you continue, if viewers want to contact you to know more about lifestyle, since you're a lifestyle consultant, how would they get to you?
Sadly, I retired a year ago.
But I think they'll still want
if people want to call me and for explanations and whatever, I'll be more than happy to do that. If there are community groups who might want me to do demos, I do it, because I can't just come off the scene and then kind of just close docket. So
yes,
I'm readily, that's why I'm
so
doing
I think
this.
your number will be very needed before you close so that they will know.
Okay.
Please drop your number. So I enjoyed this.
So it's important. Are you asking me for my?
Yeah, your number.
Okay, my number is 0246 792 482.
Okay.
0246 792 482. So it's important. We have a lot of food items here.
Okay.
But by the way we use them, I mean, if I ask the question, when you eat okra stew with wele, what is in wele? You know, now, the wele alone would disturb the food you've eaten. I know I'm spoiling people's food, but the fact is that okra will break down very easily. Palm oil is great because even though we put it on high heat, we have the carbon factor. So palm oil is good. The bangkun, it's okay. But then the wele, bangkun we swallow, so we are putting pressure on the pancreas. But the wele You know, I have a belt, you have a belt. That's really...
Hold on, before you, actually, doctor, sorry, before you move on, somebody has a question here. And he's asking that even though he has seen the combination of cabbage and everything, is there any other recipe you can give so that if he wants to sleep, he can sleep after a long day's work?
Okay, after a long day's work, if you want to sleep, when you come home, you can take just one fruit, and I wouldn't recommend banana because it's high energy. I would recommend probably cucumber with a little apple.
Okay.
Now, you blend them. You don't eat it, because if you eat it and you don't chew it properly, and water. So when you drink it, it's more water-based. But the best way to go to sleep is that always have, you know, cubes, huge cubes of ice in your fridge. So when you go and going to have your wash, you could decide you do warm water.
Okay.
So this hydrotherapy now I'm saying. You have warm water, you have your wash, then you drop the ice in a bucket of water. In places where you have the very cold, you know, temperate regions, you have the tap constantly cold. You do your washing, and then you take this ice cold, and then you just pour it to, you've rinsed the soap and everything, you pour it, and when you do that,
that's after you've taken your smoothie or juice.
When you get home, you don't go to bed straight away.
No.
You get home, you do this juicing, so within 30-40 minutes, you know, your body is getting ready, or in an hour's time, and you don't need large quantities. It should be more watery, so that it goes through the system, the body absorbs the nutrients because it's already flowing through. If you don't break it down here, the chaff the body has to process. So if you like, if you do it and your blender is not that great, or you have a juicer that separates it, you have the clear fluid, because of the cucumber, it may be green, you drink it, it's like drinking water, but energized water. So it goes through your system. Within an hour, you can then go have a nice warm bath, and then you take the ice, you pour it on your body. When you dry yourself, television, lights, everything out. The body will go through shock because warm and cold, contrast. But as you lie down, the body will come to a state of neutrality. In other words, to neutralize the coldness. By the time it gets warm, you'll find you'll be snoring.
All right, Doc. You've really, really said a lot. Okay, so before we wrap up, what are your last words?
My last words is that when it comes to longevity, you can't promise anybody.
Okay.
But each day you live, your body must be in the best state of health. Because you see, it doesn't make sense you having all this wealth and whatever, kill yourself, do that, and then your body crumbles. So healthy lifestyle is about happiness. When the body is happy on the outside and on the inside, even if you don't have money in your pocket, you are the best person on the planet, because you're on a high without taking any leaves or anything. And so I'll say to everybody, health and happiness, it's key. And learn the basic principles of how you can get your body into perfect health.
Doc has said it all. You know, if you are healthy, it's your wealth. Because if you're not healthy, I don't think you can spend all the money you have. So today you've learned a lot. You've learned what to combine. You've been told you can actually add watermelon to anything. Probably it's on its own. Blend it alone. And if you can't sleep, you want something to help you sleep after a long day's work, especially Mondays like this, you know of this recipe. Don't worry, we'll be having more of this as time goes on, so you don't want to miss it every Monday at 8 p.m. That's Healthy Living. Thanks so much, Doc.
You're welcome.
We're so grateful, and we hope to actually meet you again.
Thank you.
All right. And thanks to you, my viewer, yes, for making time to watch Healthy Living with me. And also thanks to my producer, my director, in fact, my cameraman, lightsman. Thank you. You made this show a wonderful one. After that, you know, we are going to share this. Don't worry. Okay. And thank you to all the amazing people who made this show a lovely one. We are going to meet again same time next week Monday at exactly 8 p.m. My name is Nana Akusiabuachi. I'll always say stay healthy and stay blessed. God is going to ask you one day.
Jesus bore it all. I've heard them sing, I'm coming home, and heed the master's call. I've heard them sing the modern songs and songs of long ago. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet is the sound. No sweeter song in this life could be found. Heard about the Savior's blood, washed as white as snow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. It was the song my mother sang in sweet and humble voice. Like music from the world above, it made my soul rejoice. Its soothing words and melodies like the rippling waters flow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet